America. And so anyone can like learn how to sponsor children in these very difficult settings. Children at risk because of finances and family dynamics and food shortages and water shortages. And so you just go on lahash.org and you'll find out how that can happen. So Yvonne's going to take us to the next place. We had 3 days there. So, oh yeah, I guess we have this little video. Like it's good. Let them sing here a minute.
Going, when we were relating to the people that were going to make arrangements for us, they said, well, you've hosted us, because many of them have stayed in our house, and they said, we want to host you in our home. So we all went, not quite sure what our hosting would look like and how stretching that would be. So we were trying to be prepared, but that ended up being some of the most valuable things that we came home with, was the relationships that we had with these people. And Donald, that I'm sitting with there at the table, Donald Nikema is leading the Path of Hope, and we were just very thankful to be in their house. They moved out of their bedroom and gave us their bathroom. I'm not sure where they were, but it was just, they just showed extreme hospitality.
And his wife is on the right.
So while Joe and Yvonne were at the Nikema's house, Isaac and Isaac, went over to the Samara household. You can see Mwalimu Emmanuel Samara and his wife Karen, and so we were over there. And this was kind of I had just this really cool experience. So when I first met Mwalimu Emmanuel Samara, I wasn't quite sure what to do with him. I thought, oh, I kind of hope we're not at this place's person. Like, I hope he's not our host. Because I don't know that I'm connecting with him. Yeah, because some of the things he said and some of the things that I perceived. Well, as it went on, I discovered, oh, no, he's our host. Oh, no. And so I prayed and I asked God, okay, God, I feel like I'm not sure what to do here. Please help me to connect with Samara. Please help me to understand him better, because I don't know what to do. And so, and God did just that. I found, as we got to know him over the 2 or 3 nights, I don't even remember how long we were staying there, but 2 or 3 nights that we were there, it was all such a blur. God really showed me his heart for other retirees just like him, his heart for the church, his heart for us, like Isaac and Isaac. He kind of took on a dad role for us while in Africa, and that was just really cool that God answered my prayer there. Yeah, so that was just fantastic.
So while they were all in their host families, I had one of my own with Charisse. We stayed with a couple named Joshua and Eliza. They also have a baby girl named Tifan. She is about 1 year old, and she actually struggles with epilepsy. So she has a seizure every few seconds, which is incredibly difficult for her, obviously, and for her parents. They're working with doctors to figure out what's going on and try to find a solution. So we prayed a lot for her, and she was really sweet to get to know. But yeah, these people took care of me very well. They cooked amazing food. Eliza taught me how to make ugali, so that was really fun. And yeah, I just really connected with these people and had a really nice time staying with them.
Now we want to go to another Path of Hope. This is at Busoka. They were so thankful to meet us, and what we found, you can go to the next one, but we found that they're helping them to memorize scripture and, of course, another choir, and they feed them really, really well. So we were they were so thankful because they almost lost this, the ability to have this Path of Hope, but they were able to get new land, and now they just wanted to thank us. So there's an artist that she was drawing pictures, and if you saw the baskets out there, we have a few eggs in. They gave Joe and I each a basket, and then they would come up one at a time and give their offering of an egg. So we had a lot of raw eggs that we boiled them and took them on our trip to on our safari. So it all worked out.
So while we were at Busoka, then young adults went to another place called Mwamalili.
So yes, so we went to Path of Hope Wamalili. and we were asked to help them dig the foundation for their new church. You can see the old church, that structure there, or the current church rather, and it is an older building. It's kind of deteriorating. Termites are a huge issue, I think, in that area, if I remember correctly, and they're building a new building. But building a new building takes a lot more work and a lot more time than maybe it would here. So you can see they're digging a trench for the foundation, and that trench needs to be maybe 3 foot deep. The problem is that it's not rained in this area for a very long time, and so the dirt is hard like rock. And so they had these big picks, and so they would raise the pick above their head. You can see Joe doing that for a brief second. This is the next day, and so they're doing that and digging all of that out by hand with those tools, and then people are coming after that with shovels. And it's just very challenging. There's a certain way to do it, and we didn't know the way to do it. So we helped them, and I think we did actually help them. I think we did some help, but man, we did not know how to do it quite like they could. People kept. So this is the next day. Oh no, this is the same day. No, the second day. Yes. So the next day, Joe and Yvonne joined us, and there's another choir. This is proper. This is how it should be done. And they did some music. And then, yes, Isaac prayed for the team with Donald Newcomen translating.
In this church and part of this church. And we just thank you for the way that.
Yeah, the second slide was just the congregation, the children saying, "Thank you, Byron, for helping us out." Yeah, who gets to talk about the food?
That
So,
might be me.
Yep.
All right, it was lunchtime then, and they like to feed us a lot. I can honestly say that the entire time we were in Tanzania, we were never actually hungry because you ate a lot and they give you a lot of food. So you would go through the line and first wash your hands, and then they would give you a huge helping of rice with a huge scoop of beans on top, and you would get mchicha on the side, which is kind of like sauteed kale and tomatoes. So you'd eat that all together, and sometimes some meat. They in a place where it's hard to grow food and maybe food isn't as accessible, they lavished upon us and gave us the best of everything. So that was just, we were really blessed in that way.
As you can see with the picture of the donkeys there, there's a 55-gallon drum on the cart, and they had to bring the water from quite a few miles away. And so the water, as they dumped it into the large container they had inside the church, you could see it was brown, and obviously it needed to be boiled to make our tea or to whatever, And so it's just, water is a very big issue for a country where you don't get much rain. And so we did take along about 18 water filters that work like a dialysis. You run the water through it, and it comes out clear, and then you back flush it with a syringe. And so we were introducing these water filters to the various Path of Hopes. A man from Moyer Chicks, as part of that, he used to be part of that business, Ivan Moyer, he sent all these to our mailbox, and so we took them over. That was part of the suitcase delivery. And so we're very thankful we could leave these at these Path of Hopes for the children to be able to have clean water. So we're hoping that is working out for these children.
Yeah, and then that night, this was our final night, and they had us for a little party, kind of all the people we had been with this for the past 3 days. Before we left, they had a little party for us. They had really good food. They gave us some gifts. They knew we were going to the Maasai village, so they gave us some Maasai attire. And then they actually made us a cake because they'd never really had cake, I don't think, before, but they knew kind of the American tradition. So, and then it was funny because then the married couples were shown how to feed each other cake like you do at weddings. So that was fun. And then this is the next morning, us leaving. We're going to Bunda. That's right, Bunda. So we're there with our driver, or not our driver's not there, but, and then you see there, this is kind of along the way a little bit. They really use the cars got the most out of them. They really piled a lot of stuff on some of the cars. And there's a market there that we passed and some different things. This is our night in Boonda. We stayed, it's outside of one of the entrances to the Serengeti National Park, so that's where we were traveling through the next day. And there was some baboons running around. The baboons would actually run into the hotel, like, guest lobby area and, like, steal stuff. And then we went on a little hike that evening. And, yeah, it was just a good time of rest that evening for us. And then, yeah.
The following morning, we left bright and early to enter Serengeti National Park. So we met our driver, Abushiri, and started heading out and saw a ton of amazing animals. Lots of zebra and lizards.
I was obsessed with the lizards and chasing them everywhere. It was fantastic.
And we saw 7 lions at one time, which is a very rare occurrence, so that was super cool.
I don't think this was telephoto, was it? This was like,
We
were close.
Yeah, we were like maybe 8 or 10 feet from a group of lions that didn't really like us being there. So,
So they were in 2. They were. Let's just look at this video.
we thought we might witness a Serengeti kill, but I don't think the lion was hungry enough. So the suspense was definitely mounting to see that in person. We stopped at an area just off the side of the road to use the bathroom and stumbled across a pool of like 100 or 200 hippos. So that was really cool. They are terrifying in person. They are absolutely huge. But it was super cool to see them. Lots of giraffes. They are beautiful, so that was fun. And we had to stop at one point for a goat crossing, so that took a considerable amount of time.
So Maasai live in the Serengeti with their animals, and so they're out there in the wild.
I also discovered that I'm not really a fan of the ostrich. They're also really big, and I think it's just odd that they walk exactly like a human. So I was a little turned off by that, but they were
I'm
cool
not
to
sure
see.
they could exit this auditorium without bumping their head on the top of that
Yeah, they're
header back there. They're
very
pretty high.
big, yeah. So here pictured, you can see our guide, Abushiri. He is Muslim, but we actually were able to have some really good conversations about faith. And we prayed for him for several different things that are going on in his life. And we just really connected. We had a great day together. I believe he's still in contact with Joe. They exchanged numbers. So, yeah, it was really nice to be able to speak into his life and make a connection there. That evening, we arrived at our next destination, which was the home of Monday Nguka. So we settled in for another huge meal, and we had a nice time just relaxing and getting to know him. This was the place where Joe and Yvonne were going to sleep. This was their host family, but the 2 Isaacs and I and Charisse were going somewhere else to spend the night. So we piled into Monday's truck, which was very small. So there were 4 of us in the back seat with all of our luggage. It was very dark. It was late at night. I truly do not know how we all fit in there. And I can tell you that I have never been closer to the Isaacs, and I never want to be in that situation again.
And this was after a 12-hour drive across the Serengeti.
Yes.
No
a
showers
long day.
yet.
Anyway, we managed to cram into the truck and drove through this dark village that we have never seen before with a man we had never met before, and arrived at this house. This is the home of Esther and Antipas. They hosted us for 3 nights while we were in Chruch.
And that was Sharice's last night, right?
Yes. So we had a really good time with this family. Sharice had one final night in Tanzania. She was able to get a nice hot shower and sleep in a very comfortable bed before heading off the next morning to the airport. She had to leave early to be back at the hospital for her work. So we said goodbye, and that was hard for me because it was really nice having Sharice with me. I needed somebody on my side with these two Isaacs, keep them in line. So yeah, I was so thankful that she could be with me for the time that she was. So she headed off, and then, yeah.
So then we got to continued on in our stay in Arusha, and that's where we met. Part of our role as delegates is to meet with church leaders. So here we are meeting with the church leaders in the Arusha diocese. And while there, we had this computer that had been donated from Paul B. Zimmerman to give to a church leader somewhere. We kept asking the Lord, who should get this computer? And so we thought when we got to this point that the Maasai leader that we were in relationship with, it'd be good for him to have this computer because he was just really growing in his ability for leadership. And you can see him on the left side of this picture, and you'll see more pictures of him later, but he's at the very bottom left corner. His name's Jackson. So while we were all having these conversations in Swahili, which the team members, they were learning Swahili, but not enough to really engage in conversations real well, Isaac said, well, here, let me get this computer ready for him. It was pretty much ready, but it needed just a few more things done to it to get it ready.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this was I really enjoyed this. And it was one of those things where I was setting this up, making sure everything was nice and simple and tidy, and removing all of the extra nonsense that Microsoft puts in their computers now. And I thought, well, this is easy. This isn't really anything major, is it? And then I found out later that Jackson, the fellow that I was setting the computer up for, he was using that computer for theological training with EMM's new radix training. And that was so cool that I got to be a part of that. That he can now learn about, well, things that he needs to do. So after that, our host, Monday Nguka's nephew, James, told Isaac and Jaden and I, I'm going to take you out of the town. We're going to go places. And they took us to here, and we attempted dancing. Emphasis on attempted. You can see James in the middle there going crazy with the arms. We tried. Oh, we're doing okay. So it was really cool to see sort of his stomping grounds. Here's us trying again. So they were preparing for their choir the next morning, and I'm really glad that we didn't end up having to be part of their choir Sunday morning in front of the whole congregation. But it was really fun and really good to be dancing. That was really cool because often when you show up and you're the American, they kind of look at you like you're this high and mighty, wonderful person. And to have us sort of stumbling through the dance and having to do that and them having to teach us was really cool because we were able to it felt much more just, we were friends and we were hanging out. So that was really cool.
Jaden, what's happening here? Or Isaac, who?
The next morning, we headed back into the Serengeti for the Maasai church service. So this is us entering the Maasai village. There was so much excitement as we drove through.
This was like happening on both sides, right?
Yes, yeah. The car was surrounded.
This just happened to be the side that I was sitting on.
This doesn't do it justice either. It was so overwhelming. There was so much celebration going on.
And just wait until you hear what happens next.
So as I got out of the car, I'd known some of these women before, and they came up, rushing up and giving me hugs and kisses, and then came in really close, and all of a sudden I realized I'm up in the air. And they had grabbed my legs and my arms and had hoisted me, and so they carried me from the car to the place where they were serving us sodas.
Probably a distance from here to the road, at least. Yeah.
All these I saw these, their phones out, videoing. Thankfully, no one from our team saw me or got videoed, but they got to see Jaden.
So yeah, I didn't know what was happening to Yvonne, but the same thing happened to me. Suddenly, I had a group of people really, really close to me. So I just continued walking and said hello. And then, yeah, before I knew it, I was in the air. They hoisted me up and were singing and cheering and took me right up to the door of the church. So I think the guys just saw the very end of it. They saw me at the top of the hill, ready to enter the church, and they still had to walk all the way up because nobody felt like carrying them, I guess. So yeah, that was super unexpected and not something that I would have normally been comfortable with, but the Lord really softened my heart to be open to accepting love in ways that I was unfamiliar with. So instead of being super uncomfortable and wanting to be put down, I was just able to laugh and enjoy and accept the love that they were trying to give. So that was really cool.
So you might wonder why the great lavishness of love, and you have to understand we're way out from civilization right now. We're in the area where the wild animals live. We're in a village called Alamayana. It's a place that's, I'm not sure how far south it is from where Leon and Luann had served in Kenya, but the Maasai tribes are somehow in that area of northern Tanzania and into Kenya. And so, yeah, so anyhow, we got familiar with this group several years back, and we've been supporting them with funds from Byron to get water there because it hasn't rained hardly at all for 2 years, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But there was just such joy for them to welcome us there that day. And they had told me before we came that we would like you to help with the baptism. There's going to be several people that want baptized. I said, why do you want me, an American, to help with your baptism? I said, it's better for you just to do that. No, you don't understand. This church was planted by the Luo tribe, and we need to let them know that this is bigger than the Luo tribe. If you help with the baptism, they'll know that Christianity is actually a global thing, and that they're coming into a global family. So here I am helping with the baptism, and there were 6 participants that were there. And yeah, and I might just say, like, as we think about the role of International Partner Delegate and helping to, like, help these churches push out into new areas. Actually, just this morning I had a video call with Jackson, and he said, Joe, I want to show you where we're at. We're planning a new church in Alarami, something like that. And he says, here are some of the people, and they all wanted to see me. They wanted to talk with me. And it's like, it's a new place. Like, he rode his motorcycle all the way out there. I don't know how far he went. And so they keep pushing out into new areas with the message of the gospel. And now he said there's 8 Maasai churches. And so it's just amazing what's going on. So even tonight, or not tonight, but November 2, there's a banquet over here at Willow Valley, the EMM banquet. We'll be giving stories about what God is doing in the least reached people group areas. This used to be a least reached people group, like back in like in the 30s when we first went to Tanzania. Now there's churches in Tanzania reaching out. They're no longer least reached. They have a near neighbor that's a Christian. But we want to give you stories about where we're going in the world, that they don't have a near neighbor, no Bible, no believer, no body of Christ. And so we want to give you some of those stories at the banquet. So there's still room to sign up, a few more spots left. November 2, you can do that online, emm.org/banquet. Doesn't cost anything to come, and you'll be blessed that you did. So thank you for your support in that way too. But just moving along, we took along, like we said, water filters. And why don't you talk about what else is going on here?
The Talking Bible we had inadvertently found out about, and they have it in Maasai, and many...
By the Holy Spirit we found
Yes, yes, not inadvertently. We didn't try to find out, but the Lord showed us that. And the Maasai women have no way of knowing of hearing the Bible except for Sunday morning, maybe for a little bit. So this is something that is solar charged, recharged, and it looks like a Bible. You turn it on, and it is reading in Maasai through the whole Bible. And so even this morning, Jackson told Joe, yes, we're using that, and people, or many people, I think up to 200, 250 people can listen to this Bible, this talking Bible.
And it's in Maasai. It's so cool. They can listen to the Word of God in their own language. So children's worship. You have children's church. They have children's church. There was about 150 people there that morning. It was just such a vibrant, alive group that were just praising Jesus. And so even here, the service went on for quite a long time, and it was really amazing. So the two pastors there, Jackson and then Julius in the blue suit coat. Julius is a pastor for that region. Jackson's more like the evangelist pastor that's helping to plant new churches.
Yeah, and here we are with some of the Maasai leaders of that region, that area of Maasai. And
They gave us these.
They gave us all kinds of gifts.
Yeah, so they gave us gifts and some of their jewelry and stuff. I think Jaden has hers on. So yeah, that was really cool. We got some of their some cool gifts from there. And then this was a time of fellowship that we had. It was goat meat and rice and different things, and it was kind of just everyone eat out of the same bowl and share the same spoon. So that's, and you could see lots of some of the Maasai men had like machetes and knives that they like were cutting the meat with at the end table. I think there's like 5 or 6 knives there, which was cool.
So you have to carry a knife to defend yourself, right? But you also use it to cut your meat for your meal. So yeah, it works.
Yeah. So this was a really good time. And then here we are visiting, or they took us up to where the water is. So there's tanks of water, and this is kind of what Joe was talking about earlier. So it hasn't rained there in like over 2 years. So it's very dry, and they're not allowed to drill wells. So getting water is very hard. So Byerland has been working with them to get some water tanked in there weekly or every 2 weeks. But this is it there where they store the water, and then they have to carry it down.
And the bottom picture is a lake like 6 miles away. They can't really see it, but that's where they take their cattle to drink water about 2 or 3 times a day. So it's just, yeah, it's very hard for them. 2 or 3 times a week, yeah.
Here's some more pictures. That bottom left picture is kind of their house, what they lived in. And some more us talking with some of the people there. And it was really cool. They sat up on a hill and overlooked the Serengeti, which was cool. And then here is the Ngorongoro crater. We stopped at that on our way out in Serengeti. So that was cool to see. And then this here is, that evening we went to one of Monday's friends' houses that works in the Ngorongoro National Park, and they hosted us for a really good dinner and just relaxing evening.
So the following day, we were invited to the Karatu Nursery School to visit and hear what they had to say to us. And we were sitting up on a stage, and then that's okay. Joe just leaned over as the service is in progress and asked me to tell a story to the children that were present. And I had that brief moment of panic where you don't remember any Bible story that you've ever heard. And then the Holy Spirit gave me something, so I told the story of Jesus welcoming the little children. So that went well. It was, that was fun.
This is a picture of Monday. He was born on Monday, and that's why his name is Monday. Anyway, but his wife was just going all out to prepare for us that first evening, and it was obvious that she wasn't feeling good. And here we heard that she's going to the hospital. And, well, she'll be okay because she'll get medicine, but she came back and she wasn't okay. And so we just kept praying and praying for her. She was diagnosed with typhoid fever, and we were so thankful to hear after we left that she's better.
This just shows a picture of one of Monday's driving schools, and he's making that school available for a new church plant, which you can see on the right. They're having their first meeting, first outreach, which happened a couple days after we were at this school praying for the outreach that was going to happen that following weekend. And so it's just really great to see how they keep reaching out into these new areas with the gospel of Jesus.
So by now we have made it to Arusha, and they have a YWAM base there where we stayed for our final night in Tanzania. So this was just such a blessing. They served us really great food, and we had very nice lodging, and we just spent good quality time together as a team and talked and laughed and debriefed and got ready for to board our flight the next morning.
Yeah, and here's a recap. We did about 700 plus miles and about 30 plus hours through our trip there across Tanzania. This was This is actual, like a real photo. Joe took it from the front seat. Like, we are all asleep. So some of our long drives, we caught up on sleep. And then me, Jaden, and helped Joe with some of the money transfers and the different financial things while we were there. So going from dollars to shillings.
So 1 million wasn't really a lot of money, but we needed to pay a lot of shillings to travel. That was a lot of money. So each packet is like 100,000 shillings, which is like less than $50. And so that's how inflation has hit that country. It's really hard for the people. So we're going to close this morning with worship, and you normally close with a song. And so we're going to close by singing this song in English, and then we'll sing it in Swahili. So you all learn a little bit of Swahili this morning, and then we'll do a new version of this song that sometimes with these hymns, like we have these books here that the early Mennonite missionaries in the 50s translated a lot of hymns into Swahili, and they just love this book. The church does, and the Lutherans use it, the Catholics use it, all these denominations are using this book now. You can download the Tenzi app, and a lot of them sing it off their phones. And so, but anyway, they take songs like this, traditional hymns, much like some of us take traditional hymns and sing them in a new way. Like loves me too, love so unending, I'll sing his praises. God loves his children, loves even me. Now we'll slow it up a little bit so you can follow the words. Mungu nipendo atu, Mungu nipendo anipenda, sikilizeni furaha yangu, Mungu nipendo anipenda. Wow, you did that really well. That's awesome. So Isaac, why don't you help us with this new version? Mungu nipendo apenda watu, Mungu nipendo anipenda. Mungu nipendo apenda watu, Mungu nipendo anipenda. Talk to Mike Dickert more about that. He has information about that. We have one going on now, and we'll do another one in the spring. We do a spring and fall. But two of these here took the Kairos course already, and I think they would say that was such an amazing way for them to get stirred in their hearts about what it means to pray for the least reached peoples of the world, of which there are 3.2 billion yet who don't know about Jesus Christ.
Okay, so I hope you memorized that song, because we're doing that next week. And I want to see some of those dance moves.
You're the leader.
Yeah.
You're the leader.
I was in college during the disco phase, so it might not look quite like that. Anyway, hope you can all come tonight to the quote bonfire unquote. And
I think the wind will help with that.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think the wind will help make it big.
The bonfire might get a little bit bigger than what we think it will be, and the Conestoga folks will show up, and right back. Bless you all.